Any of you guys ever shopped for a car online?
All right, 30 seconds.
Absolutely, love to.
You'd think with all the websites it'd be easy to get the real price on the car that's actually sitting on the dealership lot, but with terms like sticker, invoice, rebate,
Yeah, I got it.
you don't have to worry about these things.
Yeah, I got it.
And you'll see what others paid for it. Get offers from True Car's certified dealers on actual inventory. Check out True Car and enjoy a more confident car buying experience.
Some features not available in all states.
Dunc and Holder live from the Pelicans Media Center on Airline Drive. Of course, never forget that you can hear all of your New Orleans Pelicans home games, road games, exhibition games, pickup games. You can hear them all on our sister station, 99.5 WRNO, as the Saints and the Texans are currently practicing across the way here. And certainly a more festive atmosphere, given it is the last preseason practice open to the public, and you have the Texans here, and so both fields are high-flying action. We were able to see that last week with the Chargers and the Saints, but you get the sense that there's more buzz considering people actually know the Saints in town as opposed to the people in Costa Mesa who barely know the Chargers exist. So a little bit different atmosphere for the Saints and the Texans here today. And you're going to get some good work between these two teams before Saturday night's preseason game.
Well, a really good crowd out. And if you think about it, Saints back in town. It's the first public practice they've had since they got back
His mic's not on.
from L.A.
His mic's not on.
Yeah, and with you have all that going on with the Saints and the Texans, and of course you've got the preseason game and the big talk that's going on now from yesterday's practice. Are we going to see Drew Brees? Are we going to see Mark Ingram? Are we going to see Adrian Peterson? And when you hear those names and you assume you're going to see those players play, I think it does bring a little bit more buzz, especially, look, it's the first time in a mass setting that Saints fans can see the Saints because they were on the road the first two preseason games, and you're at least going to see the most important preseason game Saturday night. It's the third one.
Yeah, and they've not had a chance to see the Houston Texans, so that brought out a bigger crowd. Crowds were kind of tailing off, frankly, out here the last few practices, and not today. I mean, it's a capacity crowd, and they've got good overcast skies, which always helps in the middle of August. So it should be fun to hear how the things go. Wish we were out there. They moved practice back a little bit, so we didn't even get much time on the field to see. But I can report that J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney are both out there.
Well, that's a plus.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, we didn't know if Clowney was going to be out there. He was out on the field. I don't know if he's going to do team drills, but he's out there at least in pads.
Right, and we will give you updates throughout the show from our colleagues Josh Katzenstein and Herbie Tiopi, who are on the scene documenting it as we go along. And if you want to get involved in the show, 504-260-1280, 504-260-1280, and Jeff will be active on our YouTube live comment section as well. Just some tidbits of participation-wise. Sterling Moore is on the field today. Missed practice yesterday. John Fullington doing some work on the side. He's a backup offensive lineman, but not practicing. Alex Okafor is back at practices today. That's a good sign. But look, probably the more notable note to come out of practice so far, that Saints first-round cornerback Marshawn Lattimore had a chat with the trainers and Coach Sean Payton, and he sat out part of an individual drill. So I'm sure we will be getting updates on his progress as the practice goes along, because you just got him back on the field. I have no idea if it's serious. It could be nothing, and he could be practicing again in 15 minutes. But it's something we're going to have to monitor.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And this is going to be a great test, as we talked about yesterday. Probably the best front seven in all the NFL, Houston Texans. If the Saints can run the ball on this front seven, then that's a very good sign going forward. I know that nobody's scheming. I'm talking about in the preseason game, but we'll get a sense of how physical this front five for the Saints can be against a really dominant front seven in Houston.
And the big news coming out of yesterday is that Max Unger officially off the PUP list, and it doesn't sound like he's going to get action this week, but the fact that you could see it when we were out in San Diego, he was doing more work. He wasn't necessarily going through, say, individual drills and team drills and such, but you look at it and they need him. They need him desperately. And if I'm Josh Laribius, and I've already seen Jack Allen gone, and Senio Calamete is your versatile lineman, I think bad snaps might become the thing of the past here real soon.
Yeah, really quickly. This becomes a very good offensive line. I think one of the better offensive lines in the league. And we're going to have Peter King on here in a few minutes. And Peter King had a podcast with Sean Payton from up before a couple weeks ago, up before the Saints preseason opener against Cleveland. And on that podcast, one of the players that Sean Payton singled out was Larry Warford, about how great a pickup he has been, really solidifying the Saints offensive line. When you get Unger back out there, even with Ryan Ramczyk, who's going to have some growing pains, it's still, I think, one of the top offensive lines in the league, and one of the main reasons why this team, I think, is going to try and be a little more balanced and run the ball this year.
I would tend to agree. I've been a big Larry Warford supporter. You've heard me say many times how he's just a guy who goes out there and can road grade a guy. And when you put him next to someone like Zach Strief, who's even at his age, he's playing his best football. And then if Unger comes back, boy, that middle to the right side of the offensive line, they ran a lot on that side last year. I would certainly suspect they would do it the same. And they were one of the better – that's the right side of the football on that offensive line. I think they were like top 4, top 5 in like yards per carry running that way behind the guard and the tackle. And that was with Jari Evans, who you assume Warford is an upgrade over Evans.
No doubt about it. If you watch any of the films, do some film study on the Saints' 2 preseason games, they've got Warford pulling. He's out there leading on the screens. They're pulling him on both sides of the ball. They're taking advantage of his athleticism, and you can see that this offense is going to be featured behind him on the offensive line. Not solely him, but I think the 2 guards now in Pete and Warford give them that anchor inside like they've wanted since they had Carl Nix and Jari Evans in there.
Absolutely. And again, to get involved in the show, 504-260-1280. We will be jumping around throughout the show as practice goes. We'll bring you updates. Of course, Jeff just mentioned Peter King from Monday Morning Quarterback, mmqb.com, and also does NBC, their Sunday night show as well. So, one of, if not the most revered NFL reporters out there who's done it forever. And also, top of the 11 o'clock hour, we will hear from our own Dean of the SEC, Ron Higgins, LSU and SEC columnist. He had a good column on Danny Etling, and we will talk with him about that. And, of course, LSU about a week and 2 days away from their first game against BYU, so we'll talk with Ron. We'll also hear from what A.J. Klein had to say after yesterday's practice, because he's that bona fide leader on that defense, and you could even get the sense the way this defense played in the last preseason game in Carson at StubHub Center against the Chargers, how this defense has come along, and you could just hear it in his voice. He's a little more confident in what's going on, so we'll hear from him as well. So come on back, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app as we're live from the Pelicans Media Center. Jeff Duncan and Larry Holder makes us Duncan Holder.
Let's kick it off! Your shot at a trip to our iHeartRadio Music Festival now. Woo! Text the keyword DICE to 200-200. You'll get a text.
All right, we got 3 minutes.
That's iHeartRadio info. Standard data and message rates apply. That's DICE to 200-200.
Welcome to the grind.
This one is gone.
The day.
Don't miss Premios Tu Mundo with your favorite stars. The music that...
What time? 11:50? Oh, okay. Shoot, that'll be easy. Yeah.
At 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Only on Telemundo.
Well,
a great passing game starts with great protection up front, and the same goes for your car.
Yeah.
If you want to keep your car in the game and running at its best, you've got to keep your engine protected. That's why AutoZone has great deals on Valvoline conventional motor oil and an STP filter.
All right, we got Peter King.
Okay. Lubricate parts from friction and wear while protecting engine surfaces from rust and corrosion.
all right, we're not
I can't hear
hearing anything.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, Dave.
Just making sure. We're just in a commercial break.
We're in a break.
Heard the first commercial, and then this one's. Can't hear anything. It looks fine.
I don't know. This did something. We got to hit connect.
Josh Innes, afternoons noon until 2.
All right, we're back.
They did everything they could to get him a head job. He said, Coach, I'm coming to LSU unless...
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back. Dunc and Holder here as we're live from the Pelicans Media Center here on Airline Drive. Saints and Texans are currently practicing across the way. And joining us right here on the show from mmqb.com and Sports Illustrated and NBC fame as well. Peter King joining us right here on the show with Larry Holder and Jeff Duncan. Hey, Peter, how are you this morning?
Yeah, I got that NBC thing all right.
Hey, I got to make sure I plug everything. I probably missed something. Beer connoisseur, dog lover, all of this.
It's going to be another busy year for me and another busy year for all of us. I never thought that I'd be covering or we'd be trying to cover, political protests and unemployed quarterbacks, but that seems to be taking center stage right about now, too.
Well, Peter, you've been all over. Are you done with your tour? I know you were like 17 cities or teams or something.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm actually, in a couple hours, I'm leaving. I'm going to Jacksonville to see Jacksonville and Carolina tonight. Haven't seen either one of those teams. And then tomorrow, I'm going to take a tour of the new stadium in Atlanta, and then I'm going to that game on Saturday. And that will pretty much be it. And by the end of that, I will have seen either in camp or during games 24 teams. And so, yeah, I'm pretty much near the end of my trail right now.
All right, well, I'm going to put you on the spot. You've seen all these teams, basically 3/4 of the league. What's the best team you've seen?
I'll say the Patriots with an asterisk because I think it's really hard at this time of year to say categorically anybody's going to be really good because you're not really seeing a lot. I think Pittsburgh is going to be good. I think that Houston, if they get even B quarterback play, which is a lot when you're saying Tom Savage and Deshaun Watson. So, but if they get B quarterback play, they could win 13 games. If Tennessee stays healthy, they could win 13 games. So I've seen some teams that if everything goes right for them, I think they're going to be really good. Like I am so fired up about potentially about the Tennessee Titans. I've been kind of bullish on them throughout the off season. And then I went to see them, and just to understand what's going on in that organization right now, when you've got Taylor Lewan and Jack Conklin, who to me are the best set of bookend tackles in the NFL right now, and they're both still kids. So there's so many things to like about that team. I mean, if Mariota is what I think he is, I think they've got a chance to be really good. And Jeff, I'll tell you this. This might surprise you slightly, but I think the Saints are going to be better. And I think the Saints, if they can be, here's the way I sort of look at the Saints. All right, so 7-9, 7-9, 7-9, having an intergalactic passing game, and time and again you've seen, it really doesn't matter. And now they trade a great wide receiver for a potential starting left tackle. That's a trade I make any day of the week, by the way. And, now we'll see if the Wisconsin guy's good enough. But I would just say this. Part of the reason why I think Sean Payton is doing what he's doing with this team, and part of the reason why I think he is saying to everybody in that building, hey, listen, we want to give the opposition fewer chances, okay? And I'm just going to guess at this, but I would guess right now that the opponents averaged 12 or 13 possessions a game last year, okay? Just imagine if they average 11 or, say, 10.5, which would really be a huge jump. But that means that you're not putting the kind of pressure. If you can at least cut that down by one per game, which I think is one of the things that Peyton, Dennis Allen, that's one of the things that they really, really want to do. Give the opposition fewer chances to drive the football. And so that, to me, if I'm looking, I think one of the best decisions that was made in this league in this offseason was Sean Payton saying, hey, look, we're going to bring in Adrian Peterson, an incredibly motivated Adrian Peterson, for $4 million. And then we're going to bring in Alvin Kamara on a rookie deal that relatively speaking, if he does what everybody thinks he can do. I'm not saying because he will do, because who knows how much of an opportunity he's going to get. But if he's as good as he has appeared so far, and he's as good as he was at Tennessee, they have added 2 phenomenal pieces to the running game. And in my opinion, because I think Adrian Peterson's going to have a good year. Is he going to have a classic Adrian Peterson year at 32? I doubt it. But, I'll just leave you with this. I don't mean to be so stream of consciousness here, but so when I started doing some homework on Adrian Peterson after the Saints signed him, I fired up my NFL Game Pass, and I go back to late 2015 when Adrian Peterson is 30 years and 7 months old. Okay? And there was a run against the Oakland Raiders in Oakland when he was with the Vikings where the secondary gave up on trying to catch him. And I looked at that run, and I just said, that was an 80-yard touchdown run. And I looked at that run, and I said, here's a 30-year-old guy outrunning, 4-4-5 guys who basically gave up on the play. And that's not great for the defense of the Oakland Raiders, obviously, but I think they're saying, we're not catching Adrian Peterson. So that's one of the reasons why I think that even though last year was just a debacle, injuries, and you have to think that a 32-year-old running back might be finished. You might think it. I just really have this feeling that they're gonna catch a guy who's supremely motivated and who I think is going to be pretty good.
Peter King joining us right here on Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280 and on NOLA.com. Peter, let me play the role of being a skeptic because that's what we do in this business. We heard, and Sean Payton referred to, look, we watched Adrian Peterson film from 2015, and we heard the same thing. It's not apple, it could be apples and oranges, but we heard the same thing, say, when they brought in Champ Bailey. Oh, we watched tape from 2 years ago, and he was great. We think we're going to get that player. He wasn't that player. C.J. Spiller, same thing.
Right.
Wasn't that player. Jarris Burr, Brandon Brown, or you could go down a list of failures. And then when you're talking –
yeah, but, Jarris Burr was not because of age, in my opinion. It's because he wasn't as good as they thought he was.
Right.
But anyway, I get your point. You're right about that.
Right. And then when you're trying to limit possessions – if the defense isn't any better and teams just go through them again, you're not going to limit any possessions. So how can the Saints do that as far as on the defensive side of the football in your eyes?
Well, let's just say that your defense isn't a lot better. Okay? My point basically, when you talk about a defense that isn't a lot better, if it isn't, and I don't know how good they'll be because, really, so many pieces of this puzzle are to be determined. How good is Sheldon Rankins going to be a dominating player? Because think about this. I just want to say one thing about sort of how teams draft players and basically what happens to those players. In my opinion, when I look at every team, okay, I look and see how they've drafted based on not how those guys are in their, sort of in their, in their first year, because I think that that's unfair. I look and see how teams are essentially in whether they get guys to play well in the second, third, fourth year. Okay, that to me is what is exceedingly important. So now let's just look at for instance how you think the Saints are going to do with this defense versus last year. I think it's a huge question. Are they going to be able to get something more out of, for instance, Manti Te'o than the Chargers did? Are they going to be able to get more out of these young guys who they've drafted recently, than they've gotten so far? But I think when we talk about, when we basically talk about how you judge players and how you judge a team. Like, I would just look at it this way rather than they're not going to be as good because they really haven't added a lot of elements. If the defense last year was on the field for, on average, 12 to 13 series, and this year it's on the field for 11 series, and I don't even know what those numbers are like. But let's just say, and my point would be very simply that, that's 1 or 1.5 fewer opportunities a game that the offense is going to have to gash you. And so that's the point that I'm making. If you have 11 possessions instead of 1 or 1.5 more than that per game, then even if your defense still is needy and has its faults, logically, you're probably not going to allow as many points and as many yards as you did. We'll see if that happens. I don't know if that's going to happen. But my whole point about this is I think Sean Payton looked at his team and said, I just want my defense on the field for less time than it was on the field last year.
Peter, you had an interesting conversation with Saints coach Sean Payton on your MMQ podcast with Peter King that you posted in your column and on iTunes this week. And I know that you all had a bit of an impasse. He hadn't spoken for a number of years. First of all, can you tell me, how did that come about? And do you think now that the Cold War is kind of thawed between you two?
I would hope so. Look, I think I was quite, had quite a good relationship with Sean Payton before Bountygate. He, along with a lot of people in the organization and a lot of players, were upset when we wrote a story basically legitimizing, the bounty claims, and putting Jonathan Vilma on the cover. Now it's been 5 years, putting Jonathan Vilma on the cover with bounty culture, as the headline. So at that point, it was basically, I was in North Korea as far as covering the Saints goes. It didn't go well the next 2 or 3 or 4 years, really. And this year at the league meetings in March in Phoenix, I saw Sean Payton out at the hotel, and I saw him, okay, and I said, I'm just going to give it a try. And I went up to him and I just said, hey, I just wanted to say, hey, how you're doing. We ended up talking for 10 or 15 minutes. I talked to him a couple of times before the draft. And then this was kind of funny. Megan Payton, Sean's daughter, was a PR intern at Cowboys camp in Oxnard, California. And when I went in there, Rich Dalrymple, the PR guy, said, hey, you got to meet Megan Payton. And I said, wow. So I went and talked to her, and I took a picture. We had a picture taken of the two of us out on the practice field, and I texted it to Sean. And so anyway, then when I was going to see him in Cleveland at that preseason game, the Saints-Browns preseason game, I just asked him if he'd be willing to do my podcast. He said, sure. So, this is sort of an odd rejoinder to that, or an odd way to look at it. But when I told my wife, who does not follow the NFL closely at all, she just follows what I do,
Right.
And I told her, hey, I did a cool podcast interview with Sean Payton. And she goes, oh, he's talking to you? And I said, yeah, I guess he is. And she asked me to explain. I explained it, and she goes, wow, there are actually adults in the NFL. And, because as you know, Jeff, I mean, as both you guys know, sometimes you either write something or say something that puts you on the outs with somebody, oftentimes forever. And, at some point, I always like to go back maybe once, maybe twice, depending on the relationship, and just say, I just want to see if this is dead forever. And many times, if it's been like 4 years, and I think Sean's be bitter and shoot spitballs at you for the rest of my life, or I can realize that we're probably not going to agree on what it is you did, but let's just move on and let's go from there. And I think that the one thing that I have always appreciated about Sean Payton, honestly, is that he is so passionate about football, and he cares so much about the game. And quite honestly, I have learned so much from Sean Payton over the years. And, sometimes you hit a rocky patch. You hope it gets smoothed over. It did in this case, and I'm thankful for it because I don't want to be selfish about this, but quite honestly, in my opinion, over the next however many years I cover football and however many years he's in it, I just quite literally think very selfishly about this. He's going to add to my listeners/readers' knowledge of football because, he's one of the best guys I know at explaining the game to people who don't really understand how complicated it is sometimes. So that's one of the reasons why I really appreciated him kind of burying the hatchet and us being able to speak again.
Hey, Peter, one more and we'll let you run. We're joined with Peter King of MMQB and Sports Illustrated and NBC. Join us right here on Dunc and Holder. Sean Payton, Drew Brees, look, 3 straight 7-9 seasons. Usually a coach would easily be on the hot seat at that point. And Drew Brees, he's 38 years old. We could easily agree he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But do you feel like there's a point soon that the Saints could press the eject button on either or both guys?
It wouldn't surprise me really, because if you're Tom Benson, you're Gail Benson, you watch this team over the last 3 years, and you've basically given Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton everything that they've asked for, within reason because of the cap situation they've been in at times. So you've given them everything that they've asked for, and they're winning 7 games, and you got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So, probably, I would think, I have no inside information whatsoever, none. But I would think that if this is a 6-10, 7-9 year, that one or both of those guys, there's a good chance that they'll be gone after this year. Which one? I think it just depends on the year. And look, if I'm looking at the Saints right now, I think it's logical to say either one or the other would be gone for a very simple reason. That it's like the old saying that, why would you expect things to be different if over and over and over again you keep doing the same thing? You're not going to get different results if you do the same thing over and over again. And that's why I think it's smart this year to say, hey, listen, we're going to run the ball a lot more this year, and we're going to try to be more on offense, more of a possession team to try to keep our defense off the field.
Peter King, appreciate you jumping on the show, and we certainly all share a Sean Payton scolding or two. All three of us at one point in our career.
Spitball removal.
Exactly. Well, hey, Peter, appreciate your time. I know that you've got a ton going on.
That's the way life goes sometimes. But I appreciate being on with you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Peter King, MMQB, Sports Illustrated, NBC. That segment ran long, but rightfully so, because Peter's always bringing some great knowledge. So why don't we take a quick break right here on Dunc and Holder. We'll discuss what Peter had to say. We'll take your phone calls, 504-260-1280. We'll give you some practice updates as well. So come on back, sports1280 NOLA.com and the iHeartRadio app for Dunc and Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by...
All right, we got 4.5 minutes.
Meteorologist Bruce Katz, Tropical Storm Harvey getting strong.
So
4.5.
smoke them if you got them.
Friday night, around here we'll see...
Yes, we do.
And today, and 40% tomorrow, could see some heavy down.
We'll take it around 48 or so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 48, 49.
Though, as Harvey moves inland over Texas, it will begin to stall over the weekend, then may move our way. So late weekend and early next week, we could see some heavy rain, as of course we will track the latest on Harvey. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
Zillow. Search millions of homes for sale or rent to discover the one that's right for you. From modern apartments in the city to historic homes in the suburbs, you're not just looking for a house, you're looking for a place for your life to happen. Zillow. Find your way home.
Okay, guys, are you ready for a revolution down below? I'm talking about Frigo underwear from revolutionwear.com. It's all about comfort and looking great. Revolutionwear totally reimagined men's underwear. It's the only brand to feature a mesh pouch and patented Frigo Zone ventilation to keep you cool, dry, and comfortable. They don't pinch, pull, or restrict. Plus, you'll get some nice double takes when wearing them. Try them for yourself. Buy Frigo online at revolutionwear.com. The revolution starts below.
Don't miss Premios Tu Mundo with your favorite stars, the music that moves you, and many surprises. The competition's going to be fierce. Premios Tu Mundo, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, only on Telemundo.
Can you mow a yard, clean a house, haul off some junk? Then you can make extra money with the Tackle app. Tackle is an amazing new app that connects people who can perform small jobs with customers who need them done. Signing up is easy, so become a Tackle provider today. Go to Tackle.com to join. That's TAKL.com. As a Tackle provider, you can be your own boss, set your own hours, and make great money. Go to TAKL.com today.
Saturday, two kings collide.
I don't think this has ever been done in the history of the game.
The king of the ring, Floyd Money Mayweather.
I've changed not just the sport of boxing, but sports, period.
The king of the octagon, the notorious Conor McGregor.
One shot is all it takes me.
Face off in one of the most anticipated fights in history, and only one will reign.
I've been on the top of the throne for years.
You're looking at the king.
Mayweather versus McGregor, Saturday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
Whether it's on the football field or on the diamond, in every game, safety and performance are what matters most, and the same can be said for your driving game. Keeping your car safe and on the road performing great starts with the trip to AutoZone. They have great deals on Gabriel and Duralast shocks, struts, or strut mount products. New shocks and struts help protect your car from poor handling and increase ride control and prevent your ride from taking a nosedive. So stop in today and keep your driving game running strong this season. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
Any of you guys ever shop for a car online? I know Paulie has.
Absolutely, love to.
You'd think with all the websites it'd be easy to get the real price on a car that's actually sitting on the dealership lot, but with terms like sticker, invoice, rebates, things can get confusing pretty fast. And this is what I learned today. With TrueCar, you don't have to worry about these things. You configure the car you want and you'll see what others paid for it. Get offers from TrueCar's certified dealers on actual inventory. Check out TrueCar and enjoy a more confident car buying experience.
Some features not available in all states.
At Lowe's, we know that pros need to be ready. Ready with
30 seconds.
And ready to get to work. Which is why Lowe's has everything a pro needs for less. Every day at Lowe's, pro customers can get up to 10% off select A.O. Smith water heaters when they buy in bulk. And now through September 3rd during Lowe's Ready to Restock event, pros can get up to 10%.
10 seconds.
Off foam insulation. Visit the Pro Desk or LowesForPros.com for details. Minimum purchase required for water heater discount. Selection varies by store, U.S. only.
My anaconda don't. My anaconda don't. My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun.
The uncensored talk about your teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Want to thank Peter King, MMQB, Sports Illustrated, NBC, beer connoisseur. If you read his MMQB column, he's all about beer, and boy, I appreciate that. Probably most. Peter can have all this knowledge. I like that he's a guy who likes to try adventurous beers. I'm in on that.
I'm actually more, and you're going to roll your eyes, but I'm a coffee nerd. I know he's a coffee nerd too. We've actually had coffee over at the PJ's Uptown on Maple Street a couple times, and that's where he interviewed Drew Brees, which I would have loved to have seen that. Walk into PJ's, you're getting your morning Joe, and
Peter
all of a sudden
and Drew,
Peter King and Drew Brees sitting in the corner. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. But if you missed any of it, great insight from Peter King. You can check it out later on after our show, SoundCloud and iTunes pages for NOLA.com, and, of course, spelled sports1280.com, all of our podcasts there. But some of the interesting perspective he brought, and I kind of challenged him on it because he thinks the Saints are going to be better. He believes that the Saints could be able to take possessions away from the other teams, which means to me they're probably going to try to rely on a little bit of the ground attack more. Drew Brees is Drew Brees. Sometimes you can't help yourself, but there's a reason why you go get Adrian Peterson and then Alvin Kamara. And if you're following practice on Twitter, you already know this, but if not, Alvin Kamara and Adrian Peterson probably have the two best plays for the Saints of the day so far in practice as it's going on right now. Adrian Peterson caught a 30-yard wheel route for a touchdown that wowed the crowd, and Alvin Kamara with a 65-yard TD run. This is coming from our own Josh Katzenstein, our Saints beat writer for NOLA and the Times-Picayune. And
yeah, if you want
some positivity there.
Those guys between Josh and Amos Morale and Herbie Teope, if you're sitting in your office right now listening to us, pull their stream up on NOLA.com, and you'll feel like you're at practice because they're all over it.
Yeah, and one note, we talked about how Marshawn Lattimore was being talked to by Peyton and the trainers. He left the field, so it looks like he is not practicing now, and that is another discouraging sign. We don't know the details. We don't want to jump to conclusions, but that is not good, as the kids would say.
I think discouraging is the perfect word for that. When you're already missing your number one corner, Delvin Breaux, and here's your number one draft pick, so many expectations are on his shoulders, and especially now with Breaux out, they cannot afford any losses at cornerback, especially Marshawn Lattimore, who needs every rep he can get.
And from the public standpoint, people already assumed that Lattimore was coming in as damaged goods, and instead of taking a pass rusher there, a la, say, Derek Barnett.
Oh, I can't believe
I
Derek
brought
Barnett.
that name up. I can't believe it. I heard he has like 70 sacks in Eagles camp.
He's actually, I think, he has 3 sacks and 5 quarterback hits in 2 games. And T.J. Watt is not far behind him for the Steelers. And you know who else is playing pretty well coming on is Taco Charlton. He had his first sack last week. All these guys went about the same spot at the end of the first round.
Well, Al-Qadim Muhammad has has 2 sacks in 2 games. Look, and that's someone actually
against guys like me and you.
Hey, later on this week, I'm gonna have my players to watch against the Texans. He was in my players to watch
Cordell
last week, and he will be again this week.
Let's see him do it against some first teamers before I get carried away.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick phone call here, and then we'll take a break. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Cordell in Minnesota driving the truck. Cordell, where are you driving to? And of course, thanks for the call and jumping on the show. How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm driving from New Ulm. I'm driving from New Ulm, Minnesota, back to the Twin Cities. And you guys ought to come to our state fair. It's great up here. You got to try it. It's the best state fair, period. But listen, I wanted to ask. I was out of the truck when, and I only caught the tail end of the Peter King interview. I was just wondering, what's his assessment of the Saints? Does he think they're a sub 500 team? Do they think that they're above 500 playoff team or what?
Hey, Cordell, appreciate the phone call. Why don't we take a break here and we'll jump more into Peter King's chat because I got sidetracked giving a practice update because I want to go into what he had to say because he may be a little more bullish on the Saints than others, and that's probably because he had a long conversation with Sean Payton. And look, Sean Payton can sell you oceanside property in the desert. I mean,
he's done it to both of us.
He can certainly. There's a reason why he does the job that he does and can motivate players, and he can get you going and excited about something. So why don't we jump into that?
Yeah, Cordell, we'll get to that after this break.
Absolutely. So we'll come on back for one more segment in 10 o'clock hour. Top of the 11 o'clock hour, Ron Higgins, LSU SEC columnist, will jump on the show. And then we will give Saints updates throughout the show as practice is going on here on Airline Drive. As you're listening to us on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app for Duncan Holder.
Let's go.
Have you ever had way too much to drink at an LSU game and woke up shirtless in the bed of your truck the next morning?
All right, 3 minutes.
Neither. Just asking. It's the Josh Ennis Show, weekdays at noon on Sports 1280.
You're more fluid.
New Orleans.
Low prices every day.
Well, I don't want to Nifty Car Rental. Best rates, best service, and best vehicles. Free pickup, delivery, and drop-off. 504-525-4551. Be Nifty. Call Nifty.
Low prices every day.
If you need a payday loan fast, try LendUp.com.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy, huh?
Cash in your account fast. LendUp.com, the better payday loan.
Come on, we're all going to Minnesota. The State Fair.
Yeah, LendUp is a licensed credit services in Ohio and Texas.
West Virginia for
James from Metallica here. This is Lars. It's iHeartRadio.
I'll hold the State Fair while we were there.
Oh, my God.
I never won
Radio. Open up the free iHeartRadio app right now and type in
Nice.
station based on all their biggest hits.
This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Well, we got the best fried Twinkie in the whole 50 states.
It's all free.
Download our free iHeartRadio app or listen online at iHeartRadio.com.
Any of you guys ever shopped for a car online? I know Paulie has.
Absolutely, love to.
You'd think with all the websites it'd be easy to get the real price on the car that's actually sitting on the dealership lot, but with terms like sticker, invoice, rebates, things can get confusing pretty fast. And this is what I learned today. With TrueCar, you don't have to worry about these things. You configure the car you want and you'll see what others paid for it. Get offers from TrueCar's certified dealers on actual inventory. Check out TrueCar and enjoy a more confident car buying experience.
Some features not available in all states.
Driver to driver, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Driving with Uber is the ultimate side hustle. It totally fits around your schedule, so you can earn whenever you have time. Maybe that's before breakfast on Sundays. Maybe that's after work on Mondays. It's totally up to you. That's the best part. Here's the other equally best part. With Uber's Instant Pay, you can get paid whenever you want. So get your side hustle on. Visit uber.com/drive now. That's uber.com/drive now.
Shop Lowe's and take advantage of early Labor Day savings with great deals for your home inside and out. Refresh your walls or renew your deck with $10 to $40 off paint, exterior stains, and resurfacers. And if you've been craving new appliances, get up to 40% off select appliance special values on some of the best brands in the business. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Paint offer valid 8/24 through 9/6 via rebate. Appliance offer valid 8/24 through 9/13. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
All right, 15 seconds.
Chap, I have Crohn's disease. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps Walk program is dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis.
5 seconds.
Find a walk site near you. Visit www.cctakesteps.org.
I'm gonna trade this life for fortune and fame. I'd even cut my hair and change my name.
This is Duncan Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Duncan Holder paying homage to the Minnesota State Fair. Thanks to Cordell in Minnesota encouraging us to go. We looked up who was playing at the State Fair, and Nickelback is a headliner along with the Pointer Sisters. You know, they're the same genre.
Yes, and I'm a huge funnel cake fan, so I'm a big State Fair kind of guy. In Louisville, Kentucky, grew up going to the Kentucky State Fair every year. But I don't think I'm going to go to Minnesota just for the State Fair, Cordell. There's so many other things to do up there.
We won't be up there. It's for like a week. It might start today. It starts today and runs through Labor Day, but we won't get up there till the weekend after for Saints Vikings for their Monday night game. Update from practice. And Saints fans aren't going to like to hear the sound of this. Marshawn Lattimore's already left practice, one of their first-round picks. The other first-round pick, Ryan Ramczyk, has just went inside the training room and has left practice, and Khalif Barnes is now playing left tackle.
Oh, my gosh. Khalif Barnes against J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney that has disaster written all over it. If I'm Sean Payton, I'm pulling Drew Brees. And
I said this before yesterday.
Running the ball.
I said, why put him in now? Look, we don't know the ramifications, but if he leaves practice and they haven't been out there that long and it's not that hot out there, who knows? So we will.
Well, they're not tackling.
And they're not tackling.
So we don't have to worry about it today. But
that's true.
Saturday in the preseason game, they better hope Ramczyk's out there.
Yeah, exactly. So a few minutes ago we had Peter King on, of course, MMQB, Sports Illustrated, NBC. And he had some high hopes for the Saints. And I'm just curious, Jeff, your perspective, because I kind of let Peter know what I thought. I was like, you could tout all you want about Adrian Peterson. We've seen the veterans come in. We've seen them flame out. And we've been skeptical on Adrian Peterson. He's looked very good, especially the last, say, week and a half. He's looked very good out there. One of the best players probably out there. But he's talking about limiting possessions, that you do that on offense and defense, and I'm skeptical at best.
He's talking about the evolution of an offense, and it's interesting to hear him say that because as long as I've covered the Saints, as long as Drew Brees is there, it's going to be a Drew Brees-centric offense. I don't care who's in the backfield. Zach Strief said as much to us a couple weeks ago. When you've got number 9, it doesn't matter who's in the backfield. You're going to take advantage of your best player, and that's Drew Brees. I think what is being misguided here is people think this is going to suddenly be a running team. I think they're going to run the ball more, but the Saints want to be better at running the ball so they can finish games, so they can get a lead and then be able to control the clock in the second half and finish these games. It's not necessarily going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It's never going to be that with Drew Brees under center. But I will say this. I feel a lot like Peter King. I had to put together my crystal ball a couple weeks ago on the Saints, and I won't say what I picked them. It's going to run this weekend on NOLA.com. But I have the ability online to tweak that.
You could go back in time. I told you.
And I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I had to file this thing 2 weeks ago before I had 2 weeks of camp and have a chance to talk to people and see this team. And I think they've got a shot. I think if they can survive and get back Delvin Breaux and Terron Armstead at realistic points in the season, I think this team's got a chance to go 10-6 and get a wild card spot. I think there's a lot of teams in the NFC that people are thinking are going to be better than they are. A team like Dallas, I think, is going to come back to the pack. And this Minnesota game is big right off the bat because it could end up being a playoff implications down the road. You just don't know. I think Detroit might come back to the pack a little bit. And I think the Saints have a chance to be that team that rises up and gets in the playoffs. But you and I both agree on this. They've got zero margin for error. Things have to really go their way, I think. They can't afford to lose Brees, say, for 2 or 3 games or something like that. There's just not enough depth to overcome that.
1 minute.
Well, you mentioned rise up. Look, Atlanta's still Atlanta. I think Carolina's better. I think Tampa's better. I think if you didn't get if they got better and have improved more than the Saints have, that's great and all. What if the whole division's good and you go 8-8 and you're in last place?
I agree.
That could be part of it.
I'm worried about Cam Newton coming back. I think the rest of the team is better. I'm not sure about him.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. So interesting conversation with Peter King. So we'll talk LSU and SEC next with Ron Higgins.
30 seconds.
Coming up here on the show as we are live out at the Pelicans Media Center as Saints and Texans are practicing here on Airline Drive. So come on back, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Jeff Duncan, I'm Larry Holder. Makes us Duncan Holder.
Give in this time and show me some affection. We're going for those pleasures in the night. I want to love you.
There's a common assumption about identity theft. A lot of people believe it's just credit card fraud, but credit card fraud is not the only form of identity theft. If you're just protecting your identity by monitoring your credit and checking bank statements, you could miss some forms of identity theft, like your information being put up for sale on the dark web, someone getting an online payday loan in your name, or even someone stealing from your 401k accounts. Good thing there's LifeLock. They use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats. If you do have a problem, one of their U.S.-based identity restoration specialists will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. Join right now. Get a special 15% discount off the first year of your LifeLock membership. Call 1-800-LifeLock or visit LifeLock.com. Use the promo code Patrick15, you save 15% off your first year. 1-800-LifeLock or visit LifeLock.com. Use the promo code Patrick15. That's Patrick15. Offer ends August 27th. Terms apply.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280. Fox Sports trending now.
NFL preseason action resumes.
All right, you got 5 minutes.
On tap, Carolina taking on Jacksonville. Chad Henne will get the start at quarterback for the Jaguars, with Blake Bortles serving in his backup. And Cam Newton, coming off the shoulder surgery, is expected to see his first preseason action tonight for Carolina. On Sunday, the Bears will reportedly start.
Oh, yeah, when am I calling him?
Against the Titans, rookie Mitchell Trubisky is expected to see action.
Okay. Out of this. All right.
The first game of the day gets underway in moments from Citi Field, with the NL wildcard leading Arizona Diamondbacks visiting the Mets. Robbie Ray starts for the D-backs. Rafael Montero will be on the hill for New York. Nationals pitcher Max Scherzer will miss his Friday start because of soreness in his neck. And Cardinals closer Trevor Rosenthal having season-ending Tommy John surgery next week. I'm Deb Carson.
We are Don't miss Premios Tu Mundo tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, only on Telemundo.
For many businesses, hiring is tough. You want access to highly qualified candidates fast. And you don't want to sign a long-term contract or pay upfront fees. That's why you need Indeed.com, delivering 6 times more hires than any other job site, according to independent research. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/credit. That's Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Never give in. Never give in. Never, never, never.
I didn't put him on
in nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense.
Winston Churchill's immortal words stirred an entire country in the face of certain defeat. Today, these words give each of us the courage to reach for our own victories.
Never give in. Never give in. Never, never, never.
Commitment. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
AutoZone presents the oil change. Regular oil changes protect your engine from wear and tear, helping your car roll well beyond the 100,000-mile mark. Right now, you save with a $24.99 oil change special. Get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX conventional or high-mileage oil and an STP oil filter for up to $5.99. So visit your local AutoZone. With over 5,000 locations, the right supplies and good advice are just around the corner. Let's get you what you need. See store for restrictions and details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Shop Lowe's and take advantage of early Labor Day savings with great deals for your home inside and out. Refresh your walls or renew your deck with $10 to $40 off paint, exterior stains, and resurfacers. And if you've been craving new appliances, get up to 40% off select appliance special values on some of the best brands in the business. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Paint offer valid 8/24 through 9/6 via rebate. Appliance offer valid 8/24 through 9/13. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only. Shop Lowe's and take advantage of early Labor Day savings with great deals for your home inside and out. Refresh your walls or renew your deck with $10 to $40 off paint, exterior stains, and resurfacers. And if you've been craving new appliances, get up to 40% off select appliance special values on some of the best brands in the business. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Paint offer valid 8/24 through 9/6 via rebate. Appliance offer valid 8/24 through 9/13. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Sports 1280, New Orleans.
All right, we got Ron Higgins. Who's he with?
Noon until 2.
They did everything they could to get him a head job.
Ron Higgins, who's he with?
Unless I get a head job.
NOLA.com.
Oh, NOLA.com. Okay, all right. And all right, well, yeah, I got him on the line.
Cool.
Being so perverse. Like this, I'm not even attempting to be perverse here, and this is the direction you're taking this.
I'm sorry. What did he want?
I'm assuming they did everything they could to get him a head job, but he was honest with us. He said, "Coach, I'm coming to LSU unless I get a head job, and I want a head job." Stop laughing.
I'm just happy.
This is the stupidest crap ever, and I love it.
Atlantic, and we didn't think he'd take that. But he calls and says, "Hey, man, I'm coming.
Not sure if they can hear
I've
you
got
on YouTube,
one more meeting, and I'm just going to listen to."
That's still accurate.
What kind of job?
He said he was going to take unless he gets a head job, and he wanted a head job.
I mean, that's what we all strive for.
I was thinking about that when I was getting my massage in Las Vegas, actually.
Listen live weekdays on Sports 1280 and the free iHeartRadio app, or catch up at sports1280.com.
He's like a big giant man, baby. I love him. Oh, crap. He's probably hear me right now, too. Shit.
Go to a Little League game with the whole family, then in...
Sorry, Josh.
Odyssey. This year, Honda celebrates their 21st anniversary as the official vehicle of the Little League World Series. And as we celebrate the anniversary of this sponsorship, Honda wants to recognize the home...
All right, 10 seconds.
The moms, dads, and everybody else who makes Little League so special. Check out the new Honda Odyssey with available Magic Slide seats, cabin watch, and advanced rear entertainment system to make your family...
Yes, we do.
Fun. Available now at your local Honda dealer.
Dunc and Holder back at you, hour number 2 as we're live on Airline Drive in the Pelicans Media Center as Saints-Texans practice is ongoing, and all hell's breaking loose out there. Adrian Peterson's fumbling the ball, having to run laps. J.J. Watt recovers. Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk leave practice. After all kinds of early positivity, it's gone all to hell. So bad things going on the practice fields right now.
Yeah, and you never want to read too much into this, but it's never good to see both your first-round draft picks go to the training room.
You would call that a bad day. But making the day even brighter, Ron Higgins, our columnist colleague, covering the SEC and LSU, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Ron, I know you relish when we have our practice observations and such, but I'm sure you have gotten your fill of LSU practice. You could tell them to close it up, I'm sure, now. You're good, right?
The 15 minutes I saw, it was scintillating. Told me everything I needed to know.
You're all good. You've got your fill. You don't even need to watch the games anymore.
I'm good. I mean, I know who the quarterback was going to be. I mean, I know, I just saw a bunch of large people grunting and sweating. Saw Orgeron go from position group, basically saying, "All right, baby, you want to go, baby? Now you go, baby." So basically, that was about 15 minutes of, Ed going, "Hey, baby, and, watching guys throw.
Ron, the other night, we got to hear from the two coordinators, Matt Canada and Dave Aranda, and I thought both press conferences were pretty interesting. And I tell you, the more I look at what Coach O's done, I think the biggest feather in his cap is keeping Dave Aranda around and then hiring Matt Canada. I mean, if you're an LSU fan, you've got to at least feel good about the two coordinators you have in place now. It might be the best set of coordinators they've had in decades.
Yeah, and they made two really good hires, and it's kind of funny watching both those guys. They're kind of different personalities. I mean, Aranda's like this Obi-Wan Kenobi, nice and quiet, and you got Canada, who's, you watch Canada on the practice field, and all he says is bang, 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 and do your job, and he's into people all the time, but all of them, both of them are really good teachers. Both of them have their players respond. Both of them are extremely intelligent and know what they want to do. And they say it's been really interesting in spring and preseason camp watching, Canada and Aranda go against each other, because both of them have distinctive, systems, and it's like a cat and mouse game. And I don't know that, and for both them, it really benefited them. Especially, I think it benefited Canada to go against a defense like he went against, and I think it certainly benefited Aranda to go up against Canada's all his crazy formations and motions and stuff. So they benefited each other, and they're both really great to talk to, which I knew they would be. And I just, hopefully we'll, get them again before, the next lunar eclipse. We're hoping that might work out. Or either that or Haley's comment, one of the two, whichever comes first. But both of them are great to talk to. They give you really good insight. And I think that's what people want. They just don't want to hear from the head coach all the time. They want to hear from the guy who's running the stuff. And honestly, as a CEO, he'll tell you he's a CEO, and he turns the offense and defense over to those guys. And those guys should be allowed to explain stuff, and they're very good at it.
Ron Higgins, LSU and SEC columnist for NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. You can follow him on Twitter at Ron Higg, H-I-G-G, the double G. You just had a column on Danny Etling. We and every LSU fan, I'm sure, is not surprised that Danny Etling has been named the quarterback. But at least for me, I was surprised at the sound of almost how legitimate the race was. Was it legitimate? And do you think it was a difficult decision for Orgeron?
I think the separation was the fact that Miles Brennan doesn't have the experience yet and doesn't know the playbook as well as Etling does yet. I think physically, as far as the arm, there's no doubt who's better. I mean, you watch Miles Brennan throw, and that's basically what I went to practice. That's what I did. I went to the quarterbacks and watched him throw, and his ball comes out tight with a spiral on a string, and it gets to where it's going in a hurry, and hits guys in their hands. Now, whether they catch him or not is a whole other thing. So I saw a bunch of drop passes. I mean, of him hitting guys in hands in between their numbers. I mean, he's going to be, and he is thin. He's put weight on, but he is thin. But he's a flinger now. I mean, he gets it there in a hurry. Etling is throwing the ball harder, and I think it came down to the fact that you got a fifth-year senior, and he wasn't terrible last year. I mean, he was better than people expected, and he played with such a bad back injury that his leg went numb a lot of times in games, and he's planting his foot. He couldn't really feel what he was doing, and subsequently he would just kind of use all his arm strength to get it out there. So I think I'm just as interested to see a healthy Danny Etling as I was seeing a new Miles Brennan.
Ron, do you think I wrote a lot last year about Leonard Fournette being a Heisman candidate. We know it's been decades since they've really had a bona fide Heisman candidate. Do you think Darius Geis, in this new offensive system, Matt Canada's system, can make a run for the Heisman? I mean, we kind of forgotten about the Heisman talk because Fournette's not there anymore, but I think Geis could end up being a sleeper candidate for that.
Yeah, I think so because, he's one of the, even though he said he doesn't like catching the ball, Geis sometimes is like really brutally honest. He says, I don't really like catching the ball that much, but he's going to catch the ball a lot in this offense. And they want him in space, and they're going to get the ball to him in space, and they'll get the ball to him in different ways. And I think that's one thing benefit that Leonard never had. I mean, Leonard had was hand the ball off, was never really thrown to that much, and he was hand the ball off when there were an eight-man line waiting for him, sometimes 9 in the box. And I think guys will benefit by the fact they'll move him all over the formation, and he'll get the ball in different ways. And yeah, I think he can be a Heisman candidate. I think he's shown in last year when you only start like 7 or 8 games and you lead the SEC in rushing, it's pretty phenomenal. And the fact he didn't throw the ball to him that much. So yeah, I think he's a big weapon for them this year, and they'll get him the ball in a lot of different ways. So I think he likes the fact that he's just not sitting there in the backfield the whole time. Sometimes you'll see him in the slot. Sometimes You'll see him, as a receiver. He's all over the place, and I think he likes that.
Ron Higgins, LSU and SEC columnist, join us right here on Dunc and Holder. Let me pivot back to Danny Etling, because you wrote a column on Danny basically saying they have a new starting quarterback. It's just a healthy one, a healthy Danny Etling as opposed to an injured Danny Etling. From what he said and spoken, does he seem like a more confident guy, considering he knows the job is his and he's healthy and he has an offense that's maybe less antiquated as the one he's had to deal with in his first year as a starter?
Yeah, I think he's really optimistic. He's never been a guy that ever really got down. Even last year when he was playing and he had a couple of games where it didn't go well for him, the Alabama game and the Florida game. The week after they play Florida, he comes back against A&M and throws for 323 yards, which is amazing. I'm telling you, he can. He said, sometimes last year when I planted my foot, I had no confidence to follow through because I couldn't feel my foot in the ground because the back injury would make his whole leg like numb and tingling. He couldn't feel it. I think the fact that he's healthy, that now, like he says, I can really follow through with my throws. I can get my shoulders and hips through it. I think he's excited that he's the healthiest he's been in years. He's excited by an offense that gives him a lot of different options. And he's the type of guy that he liked the competition. He wanted the competition, and he's also a guy who's willing to help the younger guys. Like I wrote, I honestly believe it. If they wouldn't name him starter, he wouldn't have gotten down. He would figure out how he could help Miles Brennan be a better quarterback while he was trying to improve himself. So that's the type of guy he is. He just wants to win, and I think in this offense, Canada's had a track record everywhere he's been of taking guys who have been, say, average quarterbacks and put them in an offense, and they've been tremendous in it. Like Nathan Peterman last year at Pittsburgh. Put him in kind of been an average college quarterback. He transferred from Tennessee to Pittsburgh, and in Canada's offense in 1 year, all of a sudden, he's a pro prospect and he plays really well. So I think Etling believes that Canada can kind of work the same magic with him.
Ron, let's switch gears and go across the border into the SEC West and talk about Ole Miss. How damaging do you think the Hugh Freeze situation and the NCAA situation is to the Ole Miss program? Do you think they can recover from this if they make the right hire and go forward? And I'm curious to get your insight because we haven't had a chance to talk to you about this since it's all gone down.
Well, they have to make the right hire, and honestly, I believe that it'll have to be somebody with the same type of offensive attack as Hugh Freeze had, somebody who spreads it and throws it and makes it fun for kids to play in. I think that's one reason he was able to turn it so quick, was to get to have an offense that was fun to play in and unpredictable and kind of gave SEC defenses fits. That said, they're going to be down for 2 or 3 years unless they do something absolutely magical with walk-ons. It's a lot. To me, it's a lot like when Tommy Tuberville took over at Ole Miss, and I talked to Tuberville about this. When he took over at Ole Miss, he took over a program that was on probation and had massive scholarship reductions, and for the first 2 years, Tuberville had to basically talk kids into being walk-ons who were pretty good players before he had scholarship numbers up, and I think Ole Miss is going to have to do the same thing. That said, this year they could be a sleeper as far as, they're not eligible for the championship, but by God, they could really mess things up. The most dangerous team out there is the one that has nothing to play for it as far as, winning a championship, but they have everything to play for as far as pride. And we've seen this before in the SEC. 1983, I believe, Auburn ran the table 11-0. They're on probation. Bowden comes in and they don't lose a game and screws up the rest of the league. It could happen again this year. I'm not saying Ole Miss is undefeated. I'm just saying they could win some games that would screw the race up.
Ron Higgins, LSU and SEC columnist for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. You can check out all of his columns and all of his work on our publications and on Twitter at Ron Higg. Hey, Ron, appreciate the time as always, buddy. Take care.
The next time y'all go to the Saints practice, try to go along just to watch, just to get the essence of what's going on. I'd make me happy. Really would.
I know you need to take a road trip just so you can see how a whole practice works. There you go. So, all right, Ron, appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, I'd be delightful. I really would.
Yeah.
See ya.
Practice. See you. That's Ron Higgins. Join us right here on the show. So, Jeff, why don't we take a quick break right here as we're live at the Pelicans Media Center on Airline Drive. Saints-Texans practice is continuing. There's at least some uplifting on-the-field action that we can bring to you after the break.
Comes and goes. There's a positive and a negative.
Waves. Yes. Michael Thomas can score a touchdown in practice, but just because he does that doesn't mean that Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk are actually out there practicing. So, sorry, Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
Jordy Hultberg, 2 till 4.
Is Alabama's dominance bad for the SEC? Nick said, well, there's parity in the league. Yeah, there's parity. There's you, and then there's about 6 teams that will challenge for the number 2 spot, and then there's a third tier. So there's really a 3-tier SEC.
Sports 1280.
Don't miss Premios Tu Mundo with your favorite stars, the music that moves you, and many surprises. The competition's going to be fierce. Premios Tu Mundo, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, only on Telemundo.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Wounded Warrior Project provides these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence at no cost for life. So now it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Join us at findwwp.org.
It's Super Saturday at Kohl's. Shop early birds until 1 p.m. to save big. Boys Carter's tees are just $7.99, and Junior's graphic tees are $9.99. Fashion sneakers are $24.99. Kitchen electrics are only $9.99, and the Big One bath towel is just $3.99. Everyone gets $10 Kohl's cash for every $50 spent. Earn it on everything, spend it on anything. This Saturday, it's Super Saturday, only at Kohl's. Select styles, some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
Sports 1280, New Orleans. Instant replay. Chris Gordy. Mornings 8 to 10.
He is Coach Rick Venturi jumping on with us right now on Sports 1280. Man, you're from the coaching to the media world. You're just you're taking over.
I stepped over the line. The coaches always kid me. I always say I have 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
What was worse, late nights at the office or putting on makeup for TV?
That's a great question. The pressure of coaching. I did it 41 years and 27 in the NFL. And when my day was done, I knew it was done, and I had other interests in life. But I will say, I love radio. I'm on for an hour on Monday and an hour on Wednesday here in Indianapolis, which most segments are 15 minutes. But you're right. To get this guy ready takes a lot of makeup on that television.
Listen live weekdays on Sports 1280 and the free iHeartRadio app, or catch up at sports1280.com.
All right, 30 seconds.
Colonel Sanders from KFC here to talk about the good old days. Well, the good old days are still here in chicken form, specifically in KFC's original recipe fried chicken with 11 herbs and spices. Our delicious chicken is still hand-breaded and pressure-fried just like it was then. Get your fill with 2 pieces of my original recipe in a $5 fill-up with mashed potatoes, a biscuit, a cookie, and a drink at a KFC near you. KFC, it's still finger-licking good. At participating KFCs, prices may vary, tax extra.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Jeff and Larry back here at the Pelicans Media Center. Don't forget, every Pelicans basketball game, you it here on our sister station, 99.5 WRNO. And Jeff, practice hot and heavy going on here on Airline Drive. And if you have not been listening, look, the big news of the day so far, far more important than whatever's going on actually on the field, is that both Saints first-round picks, Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk, have left practice. We have no idea the severity of the injuries. It could be as something as small as cramps. I don't know. We're not out there, so we're kind of gauging on our coverage team. Josh Katzenstein, Amos Morale, and Herbie Teope out at practice. But I'm sure Sean Payton's going to be asked about it after practice. I'm sure he's not going to want to reveal anything. But that's about as frustrating as it can get. I mean, you're at a joint practice. You get Lattimore back. You've already down Armstead, and now Ramczyk had to leave. And he's already missed time in training camp, too. Worked his way back, and we've got another issue that could potentially be something. I don't know. We don't know what it is, but it's something.
Two most important positions in the NFL other than quarterback are left tackle and cornerback. And the Saints right now are taking on water at both positions. They just can't afford it. No team can afford it. You just don't have the depth in the salary cap era to withstand more than one injury at those positions. The Saints right now have multiple injuries.
So I'm curious to see if those guys play on Saturday. I mean, you wanted to see him play in the final major dress rehearsal, and Marshawn Lattimore did not get a lot of action per se. He got a lot of snaps, but didn't get a lot of action against the Chargers. Ryan Ramczyk, of course, he played a lot against the Chargers, and you would like to seen him play against, say, a J.J. Watt and possibly a Jadeveon Clowney. Undetermined if he was going to play in the game or not. But still, it's something that, boy, when you compound everything that's happened, I don't care if it's even minor. The thing is that you lose these guys again. We don't know. The reports, like, they walked off the field, so it might not be anything major, but you're just dealing with these things constantly, and it has to wear on you as a staff to try to put the pieces together.
Yeah, look, there's a big drop-off from Ryan Ramczyk to Khalif Barnes. Big drop-off. So they cannot afford that injury. If that's something serious or not, I don't know. The other thing, dealing with Lattimore, you're already down Bro, which we talked about. But Dennis Allen, if he wants to play a certain style defense, talked to Kenny Vaccaro about this earlier this year. They want to pressure. It's very similar to what Greg Williams ran when he was here. They want to get after the quarterback with their front seven, confuse the blocking schemes, and come after him. And to do that, he's going to put his corners on an island and play a lot of man press coverage. He's got to feel confident those guys can hold up. That's why Marshawn Lattimore was drafted. He excelled in press coverage at Ohio State. If he doesn't have Lattimore and Bro, he's not going to be able to play that style of system, and they're going to have to kind of makeshift the defense the way they did a year ago. And I think we're going to be looking at the same kind of thing, even if they have improved in other areas.
Just look at the way the linebackers were used in the Chargers game. Very active. You're seeing them blitz. You're seeing Vaccaro blitz. We're going to say this over and over and over again, that it's Greg Williams-esque because they just don't have the bookends to make it happen without pressure, additional pressure. Rushing, got to rush 5, got to rush 6, and it's something they have to do. It's essential, and if you don't have even solid cornerback play, it's going to bite you. But that's the hand that Dennis Allen's dealt. He knows it, and that's why he's going to have to try to play a certain way.
Right. I think the key to this defense getting better has been trying to improve the pass rush to where they don't have to hold up in coverage for 2.5, 3 seconds. You can't do that in the NFL. They've added pieces to the back end that I think make it a competent secondary. And then they want to try and bring all these blitzes and all these different pressure packages. And I just don't know what they're going to do if Lattimore's out for a significant period of time. But we don't know. He walked off the field. Could have just tweaked something. Could be a cramp. Who knows? I don't want to speculate. We know we're not going to hear much from Sean because he never reveals much. but it's clearly a setback anytime he has to leave the field.
Absolutely. And flip back to the other side of the ball. We're talking Lattimore. Might as well talk Ramczyk. Khalif Barnes has replaced him in practice, and as you would predict, has become a liability as Jadeveon Clowney. Let's just go to our TV partner, Sean Fazan, via Twitter. Barnes attempting to block Clowney is just unfair. Let's go to our own Amos Morale. Clowney just blew past Khalif Barnes, and apparently Barnes versus Clowney blew up twice in a row, 2 plays blown up, and Drew Brees has Clowney in his face. Don't play Brees Saturday. Don't do it. I don't care. Just don't do it. Don't.
In Khalif Barnes' defense, he should be playing guard right now, if at all, in the NFL. That's what he was playing 2 years ago for the Oakland Raiders. They'd moved him into guard because he couldn't play left tackle anymore. He couldn't even play right tackle. Why the Saints think, even though he's lost a little weight, I mean, he's up in his upper 30s, why they think he can play left tackle against guys like Melvin Ingram and Jadeveon Clowney at this stage of his career, I think it's unfair to Khalif Barnes. And I think it's misguided right now. They have nobody else. I mean, we know that Bryce Harris isn't really the answer there. If Ramczyk can't go, and I assume he's going to be able to go, but if he can't, they may have to go out and find a tackle in the market.
I don't think they want Khalif Barnes to ever have to play left tackle, but when
why
you're
they got him
down
at left tackle?
when you're down Armstead and Ramczyk, so that's the thing. It's like the worst case scenario. You don't ever want him playing there, but when you're down these two bodies, and this is a practice setting. Look, Drew Brees is getting hammered, but I am not. It sounds like I'm joking. I am not joking. If Ryan Ramczyk can't play, Drew Brees better not play. I'm serious.
Well, they could play him, but they'll have a plan. They
better put Zach Strief, like they did with Arms, when they did to him a couple years ago, put Zach Strief next to Barnes and have that. But that's the thing. If you leave one side open, the other side's going to be wide open because that's why the Texans are good. They have these edge guys, and they're not going to let up in a preseason game. If they can go crush a guy, they're going to go crush a guy.
I would put Sheldon Rankins at left tackle. Or have him play
Cam
tight
Jordan
end
out there.
I
don't know.
Have him play tight end and chip J.J. Watt.
Don't play Brees. I
no,
can't.
play him and just run the ball or do something. They'll have a plan.
Play him and just run the ball.
Yeah, they'll have a plan. Look, Sean Payton, I guarantee you, he's fully aware that Khalif Barnes can't block Jadeveon Clowney.
Put Alvin Kamara in the Wildcat and just let it fly. Then you won't show anything on tape, and you'll be good to go. We joke about this, but don't do it.
All right, well, I think
bring back Tony Hills.
Oh my gosh, it just shows you though how hard it is to get good left tackles. It's such a supreme position, and it's very difficult to find those kind of guys. And it lets you know, look, Khalif Barnes is a professional athlete. He's obviously a tremendous athlete.
He's a longtime veteran. Look, he used to be a good player.
It just shows you though how great these athletes are that they're going against. That a guy like Khalif Barnes, who's lost all this weight, played this long in the league, gets matched up against Clowney, and it's a huge mismatch.
And it also goes to show you that you could fault the trade, Cooks, for the pick. You could fault the trade in and of itself, but don't fault the pick of Ramczyk because left tackles or good tackles aren't easy to find. So best player available. You can't fault the logic who they picked.
They took the best player on the board.
He was easily the best player.
They took the best player on the board. I personally fault it because I think they should have traded up and got a pass rusher.
But if you were going to sit tight,
yes,
that's who you take.
Right.
That's who you had to take. So let's take a quick break right here on Dunc and Holder. When we get back, let's go to the defensive side of the football. Let's hear from A.J. Klein. He spoke with the media yesterday, and I know Josh Katzenstein had a story on Klein on NOLA.com, but there's certainly confidence in Klein from Dennis Allen, from Sean Payton, from his teammates. So why don't we hear from the Saints linebacker and really one of the bona fide leaders on that defense coming up here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Jeff Duncan and Larry Holder at the Pelicans Media Center on Airline Drive. And we're Duncan Holder. Can't be mad at me, 'cause if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. If you like
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by Zillow.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz. Tropical Storm Harvey getting stronger in the Gulf of Mexico. Still looks like a Texas storm Friday night. Around here, we'll see spotty storms 40% today and 40% tomorrow. Could see some heavy downpours. High temperature in the lower 90s with overnight lows in the upper 70s. Now, it looks as though as Harvey moves inland over Texas, it will begin to stall over the weekend, then may move our way. So late weekend and early next week, we could see some heavy rain, as of course we will track the latest on Harvey. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
Zillow. Search millions of homes for sale or rent to discover the one that's right for you. From modern apartments in the city to historic homes in the suburbs, you're not just looking for a house, you're looking for a place for your life to happen. Zillow. Find your way home.
If you're lucky, you'll get 8 hours of sleep every night. Likewise, you're lucky to get out of the office in 8 hours. Mattress Firm wants to reward your hard work by letting you sleep even harder with a sneak peek into our Labor Day sale.
Yeah, I got 5 cuts.
Some select purchases so you can binge on your favorite shows and snacks. And get 50% off a Beauty Rest mattress now just
It's probably not going to be
Our
over,
low
so
price
don't worry
guarantee
about us
promises
rushing
you the
to that
lowest price by 10% or it's
Okay.
For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/circulars. Product offers.
All right, we got 2 minutes.
When you're hiring, you want qualified candidates fast, and it can be hard to know where to find them. More than 3 million businesses use Indeed.com, the world's #1 job site. Whether you need entry-level or highly skilled employees, Indeed helps you find great talent and make the right hire. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/promo. That's Indeed.com/promo. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Your car has lots of lights. You've got headlights, interior lights, the light that comes on when you open your glove box. But there's one light that's the pest of the bunch, your check engine light. And at AutoZone, we have the tools to help you troubleshoot the real problem for free. Whether it's something serious or something simple like a loose gas cap, you'll get a MyZone health report to help save you money and hassle down the road. So if your check engine light comes on, come on over to AutoZone and let's get you what you need.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hey guys, your prostate should be the last thing on your mind, but the fact is, the older you get, the more likely you'll have prostate problems, which can affect your everyday life. That's where Prostate Complete by Real Health comes in. Prostate Complete is the result of 20 years of experience as a leader in men's health. The powerful formula in Prostate Complete supports natural prostate function and reduced urinary urges for a better quality of life. Available at Walmart. Visit prostateoneperday.com for special offers. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
It's Super Saturday at Kohl's. Shop early birds until 1 p.m. to save big. Boys Carter's tees are just $7.99, and Junior's graphic tees are $9.99. Fashion sneakers are $24.99. Kitchen electrics are only $9.99.
15 seconds.
It's just $3.99. Everyone gets $10 Kohl's cash for every $50 spent. Earn it on everything, spend it on anything. This Saturday, it's Super Saturday.
5 seconds.
Select styles, some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
Learn what our insiders know about your home teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Duncan Holder back at you for the next 20 minutes or so. Saints-Texans still practicing, and we've been giving some updates as we go along. Now, coming up here in a little while, Sean Payton and players after practice is over will be addressing the media. And so with that being said, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with, say, Marshawn Lattimore, with Ryan Ramczyk. Look, both of those players left practice, and you were hoping to see them play in this weekend's game because you want everything with Ryan Ramczyk. You want trial by fire for him. Of course, he would be going up against Jadeveon Clowney and or J.J. Watt. And also what you'd be doing is having Marshawn Lattimore receive some reps and probably get thrown at because Kellen Clemens didn't throw the ball at him much at all. And just a heads up, you're going to hear just me, and our YouTube live listeners are probably wondering what the heck just happened. Jeff just ran out. No, he didn't have to go to the bathroom. He's going out because practice is nearing a close, and he's going to be doing some interviews after practice, so I'll hold the ship for the next 20 minutes or so. But you certainly don't want to see, even if it's minor, and you'd like to see them play this weekend. And that's got to be up in the air. If you're leaving practice on Thursday, it certainly would be up in the air for Ryan Ramczyk and Marshawn Lattimore to jump on the field and play. Experience versus being healthy for week one, you take being healthy for week one. So I'm curious to see if and or what Sean Payton says about those two as they both left practice. But wanted to hear from A.J. Klein, Saints linebacker, and he has kind of been a jack of all trades. All I know is that he's going to be playing somewhere every down on the field when the Saints head into week one against Minnesota and beyond. He's certainly, to me, their most trusted linebacker, and there's a reason why they went out and signed him the first day of free agency. He kind of slipped under the radar as far as he wasn't one of these big names, but they paid him starter money, and he was hidden behind Luke Kuechly, and so he didn't get to play all that much. He replaced Kuechly while he was injured with a concussion and played for years as he was up in Carolina. But A.J. Klein, you saw him in the preseason game. He had a couple of good plays, according to our reporters on field. He had a couple of good plays against the Texans today. So let's hear from A.J. Klein. Of course, Dennis Allen is going to be in his ear because he's going to be wearing the green dot on his helmet to make the signal call, and whether he's at middle linebacker or at the strong side linebacker, he's going to be the guy making the calls. Let's hear what A.J. Klein had to say on the trust level he's receiving from Dennis Allen.
Yeah, I think so. I think we have great leadership in the room. We have veteran guys, and we understand this defense. So I think there's been great communication between us as a team, between the teammates and players, and between us and the coaches. So I think we're moving in the right direction.
Now, like I said, A.J. Klein's going to be wearing that green dot on his helmet, and that means he's going to be making those calls for everyone, not just the linebacker group, but secondary, defensive front. Let's hear Klein's confidence level in making the calls on defense.
It's been good. I mean, we had the entire OTAs in the spring, so that laid the groundwork for this preseason. And I think, like I said, the communication between me and the coaches and me and the players has been great. So everybody's on the same page, and when we're on the same page, we play great defense, and it's obviously showed up this last week.
Now, I mentioned how when you're playing behind Luke Kuechly, you're not going to be playing much. All-pro, defensive MVP type of guy when he's right. And there's a reason why A.J. Klein wanted to get out of Carolina, because he wanted to be a starter. And there had to have been a market for him, because you don't sign him day one in preseason. Day one of free agency, if he is some slouch. They went out and got him immediately, paid him starter money. And now he is going to be the guy here in New Orleans. But what's it like for A.J. Klein being out from Luke Kuechly's shadow?
No, it's exciting for me to have this opportunity. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I'm looking to make the most of it. So for me, it's continuous improvement every single week, and continue to show that I can play and make plays.
Now, A.J. Klein, signal caller on the defensive side. What's his reaction to wanting to be the quarterback of the defense?
Yeah, I think it's important. Obviously, if you're going to be put in the middle of the defense, you have to be ready to lead, and you have to have a full understanding of the defense. So, yeah, that was a goal of mine, to come in and to not just to bark orders and be that guy, but to earn the respect of my teammates and coaches.
And I assume that carries over to sort of setting a tone on the field. Do you feel like that's something you've been able to do in these games as well?
I think the defensive line, especially with Cam and the other leaders with Kenny in the backfield, I think we have the core pieces, the veterans that are needed to have a great defense, and we're building off of that. So the leadership from the front to the backers to the back seven has been great.
Now, I mentioned A.J. Klein. He's going to be on the field the whole time. Doesn't matter if he's the weak side linebacker, middle linebacker, strong side linebacker. Doesn't matter if it's a run-pass situation. He's going to be on the field. But it's different in a sense that if, say, they're in a 4-3 traditional set, you might have Manti Te'o being the Mike. You might have Craig Robertson or Alex Anzalone being the weak side guy, and Klein might be the strong side guy. But you go into a nickel spot, Te'o would jump out of the game, and you would leave Klein in there, and he would be the quote-unquote middle linebacker. And that's something that is not typical, but it seems to be working for the Saints so far. And here's A.J. Klein on having flexibility at the linebacker position.
Well, I think the benefits is you understand the defense more thoroughly. And I think as a linebacker, you have to know what's going on in the front. You have to know what's going on in the back seven. So it's just a culmination. I mean, and it helps you play faster. So it's definitely helped me.
Have you ever done anything like that?
One more question. Yeah, in Carolina, I played all 3 spots. So
at the same time? Like,
yes. Okay. Yeah, so I was plug and play, and they moved me around wherever they needed me based on what we were facing. So nothing new.
And I think that was the Saints' philosophy when they went out and addressed the linebacker position. Find guys that aren't pigeonholed to one spot. Find a guy who can be shifted around. And I think that's kind of the big question, because in OTAs and mini camps, we didn't know what the plan was because we didn't see Manti Te'o out there. He didn't practice much at all. And not in team drills for sure, but he was able to do this in training camp. And so now you get a better idea of what they want to do. And to me, it's obvious your top 4 linebackers, who they are. But the luxury for the Saints is that they feel like these linebackers can play different spots. So if there is an injury, they can shift a guy. If they are playing in different packages, they could put different guys in different spots and give different looks to quarterbacks, to offensive coordinators. And so it's not just this pigeonhole thing. So you could have 4 linebackers, and if 3 of them can play all 3 spots, you're in great shape. But what that does do, if you have these guys, it limits the potential of, say, how many linebackers do you even keep on the roster? If you've got guys who are versatile, it's the same philosophy as, say, on the offensive line. You don't want to have to keep 10 offensive linemen. If you could keep 8 and have a Senio Kelemete who could do multiple things and some other guys who could play guard and tackle, that's what you do to optimize your roster and address some other spots. And that might be the case at linebacker. And, look, we've have not been shy on the show, at least I have not been shy on the show, to say battle for position. Stephon Anthony, Mike Maudie, Adam Bighill, those guys to me are kind of battling maybe for one spot if they're lucky too. So someone's going to be an odd man out. And I think Nate Stupar's on the roster, no problem. He's a special teams guy, and he's a solid backup, and so he's safe. So you would say you've got 5 spots that are safe, and then the others, we'll see what happens. So I'm curious to see how that pans out. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. We will have one more open segment on the show, and actually just one more segment on the show. So as Jeff has exited stage right, the Saints and Texans practice seems to be wrapping up, and interviews are going to be going on. So Jeff went out there. He's going to do a little more of his day job, do some interviews and write some columns. And don't forget, I will have something up tomorrow on NOLA.com that's on speaking players to watch going into the Saints games. Now, I might have to make some changes because of some things that have happened at today's practice as far as injuries are concerned. So one more segment here on Dunc and Holder Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app.
Join Corey Johnson on The Neutral Ground, 4 till 6.
I think when you come to The Neutral Ground, you can expect sports, news, politics, food, music, whatever's going on, the vibe of the city.
Sports 1280.
New Orleans.
Don't miss Premios Tu Mundo with your favorite stars, the music that moves you, and many surprises. The competition's going to be fierce. Premios Tu Mundo, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, only on Telemundo.
Shop Lowe's and take advantage of early Labor Day savings that'll help you enjoy your outdoors a great deal more. Get a sizzling $30 savings on a Charbroil Performance 4-burner gas grill, now for just $169. And get your fall flower and vegetable gardens growing with Stay Green Garden Soil. 3 bags are now just $10. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid 8/23 through 8/30 while supplies last. U.S. only. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
If you're lucky, you'll get 8 hours of sleep every night. Likewise, you're lucky to get out of the office in 8 hours. Mattress Firm wants to reward your hard work by letting you sleep even harder with a sneak peek into our Labor Day sale. We're offering a free adjustable base on select purchases so you can binge on your favorite shows and snacks. And get 50% off a Beauty Rest mattress, now just $299.99. Our low price guarantee promises you the lowest price by 10% or it's free. Only at Mattress Firm. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/circulars. Product offers and prices may vary by state.
For many businesses, hiring is tough. You want access to highly qualified candidates fast. And you don't want to sign a long-term contract or pay upfront fees. That's why you need Indeed.com, delivering 6 times more hires than any other job site, according to independent research. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/credit. That's Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Hey guys, your prostate should be the last thing on your mind, but the fact is, the older you get, the more likely you'll have prostate problems, which can affect your everyday life. That's where Prostate Complete by Real Health comes in. Prostate Complete is the result of 20 years of experience as a leader in men's health. The powerful formula in Prostate Complete supports natural prostate function and reduced urinary urge for a better quality of life. Available at Walmart. Visit prostate1perday.com for special offers. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are you looking for a way to give back to the men and women who have risked it all in defense of our country? Do you need community service hours for your school or job? The Veterans Housing Outreach...
30 seconds.
The project has weekly and monthly community service hours available at sites around New Orleans, Marrero, and Hahnville. If you'd like to help, email homeless.veterans66@yahoo.com. A message from Sports 1280 Communities, helping to make a difference in New Orleans.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique, but you are not alone. MAD is here to help. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org.
Dunc and Holder now. Josh Innes next at noon on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
One more segment here, Dunc and Holder. But we're dunkless right now. It's just Larry Holder here with you. I'm waving to all you all by myself, lonesome. Our own Clyde, our social media maven. He's on the side, but he doesn't even want to join me. I must smell bad or something. I don't know. That's okay. I'd stay put over there too, Clyde, if I were you. But Saints-Texans practice has just ended. I know Bill O'Brien is speaking with the media, the Texans head coach. But the most significant news coming out of Saints-Texans practice today is Saints-related, and I'm curious to see if we get any update. Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk both left practice today. Look, they both walked off the field. They weren't carted off, stretchered off, whatever. But they both left practice. Severity of the injuries, who knows? And I'm sure their availability, though, for Saturday will be in question. And if Sean Payton says anything in the next couple of minutes, we'll bring it to you right here on the show. And if you want to get involved real quick, we've got literally like 3 or 4 minutes if you want to get a quick call. And 504-260-1280 is the number. Tomorrow's show, we're going to have on Houston Chronicle sports columnist Brian Smith. He's actually a local native, and he has covered Astros, Texans. He's covered the NBA. He's covered it all during his time at the Houston Chronicle. But so we'll talk with him about the Texans. Also, he's done a lot of Astros. Obviously, they're hot. And one player I want to ask him about, he actually put a tweet out there this morning about him, is Alex Bregman. He has gotten hot after the All-Star break and has really kept the Astros with that big lead in the AL West. So we'll talk with him about his impressions of Alex Bregman. So we'll do that on tomorrow's show. But as we've been talking about through the show, Lattimore, Ramczyk, and we know Lattimore, you know he's been dealing with injuries. Even Ramczyk, you know he's been dealing with injuries. You thought you were on the right track with them, but you would not anticipate them playing on Saturday, and that leaves you, what, a few more days? You probably even sit them out in the final preseason game potentially, and then you ride in the regular season with them, and we see what happens. So it's It's a curious time for the Saints. I mean, they've dealt with enough already. Do I have to go through the laundry list? Yes, I do. Nick Fairley. Max Unger's dealing with an injury. It looks like he's going to be back at least. But, of course, Nick Fairley out for the year and possibly out forever in football with the heart condition. Teron Armstead's hurt. Delvin Breaux's hurt. Look, it's something to where they've dealt with enough, and it's difficult to prepare yourself for a season when you're having to go through all this. And even our practice updates as we were going through when Ramczyk left, and you got Jadeveon Clowney going up against Khalif Barnes, that has one word connected to it: disaster. That is not what you want to see. And I preached it a little while ago with Jeff, and I'm going to preach it again. If Ramczyk can't play, I see no reason to play Drew Brees. Why have him be susceptible to getting hurt? Because at least if you were in a practice week and you're going through and you have leading up to a regular season game, you would have a plan to prepare if you were down Armstead and Ramczyk. You would have a plan. And if someone like a Barnes or even like last year, say Tony Hills, you had someone playing tackle, you would have a plan for it. You'd be able to put a tight end there. In preseason, you don't do a ton of game planning. And what's the point? I mean, Drew Brees doesn't need the reps. He doesn't need game experience. I think he's had 1,000 or 2,000 reps in a game with that coming up. So it's certainly interesting to not have Drew Brees possibly play in a game when you're down left tackles. And I wouldn't play it. Oh. We're on the air. Luke? Hey, Luke. All right. Technical difficulties. We went off the air, so that's what's going on here. So. All right. Good show, YouTube livers. We're done. Sometimes that happens in radio, so appreciate all y'all listening. We'll see y'all tomorrow.